Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to an episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was Epic, Elvis Presley in Concert, making $3.5 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $7 million and its worldwide total to $14 million. Basically what this was is Baz Luhrmann was seeking out old archival footage of Elvis Presley performing in Vegas and other various concerts, and what's presented here is that footage restored in higher quality audio and presentation. And obviously when you have new, never before seen footage of the King performing, it's going to attract a lot of people. In fact, this actually isn't the first weekend it was released. It was actually released exclusively in IMAX theaters last weekend, and because it expanded into more regular theaters and showings, the demand grew. Again, more people wanted to go and check out this restoration and see these never before seen performances. You know, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, so that's obviously really cool, really wonderful to see here, you know. And again, the word has gone out, and obviously more people want to go out and see it on the big screen or in the biggest screen possible. Again, it's really cool to see Baz Luhrmann using his powers for good, and the fact that Neon was able to secure such a wide release to let everybody get the chance to see this restored footage is pretty cool, pretty impressive to see. Yeah, not much more else to really say here. It is just old archive footage of Elvis restored, you know, but hey, you know, the fact that enough people went to see it again, and the fact that this was even possible is still really cool and nice to see. Number 4 was 21 Pilots, More Than We Ever Imagined, opening with $3.7 million this weekend. That total stays the same worldwide as it hasn't been released in any international countries yet. If you thought Stray Kids getting a concert movie and cracking the top 5 was strange, how about another concert movie featuring 21 Pilots? Again, this kind of came out of nowhere. I knew this movie was coming, but I didn't realize it was coming out so soon. I thought we had at least another month before this came out, but no, they got it out quick. It's actually kind of insane how quickly these concert movies are coming out so close to each other. Again, Stray Kids was just last month, but anyways, yeah, just another concert movie. 21 Pilots, they're a really popular group, band, whatever you call them. They make some good music. I can't judge. I like a couple of their songs, so you know, the 21 Pilot fans, or however you call them, they went out to see their favorite artists on the big screen. Again, once in a lifetime opportunity, getting to experience this. You don't get this very often, and because of that, we're probably not going to see in the top 5 for much longer. Basically what I said about Stray Kids, you can apply to this one as well. Again, really cool to see 21 Pilots in the top 5, as it is very strange and absurd, but hey, you know, again, I can't judge. Again, I like a couple of their songs, but we also may not see this in the top 5 for after this weekend. So hey, you know, savor this 21 Pilots. Number 3 was Wuthering Heights, making $6.7 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $72 million and its worldwide total to $191 million. Wuthering Heights continues to do fine. You know, nothing spectacular, nothing horrible, just fine. It had another alright hold, just 52%, though, given the steeper than expected, well, maybe not than expected, but definitely steep drop off in its second weekend. You would hope the movie would bounce back, maybe with like a 40, maybe even 30% drop off, but no, I think the movie's starting to lose a bit of that steam. I think the hype is dying down a bit, not to the point where I say, this movie's on its way out, it's a disaster or anything, but it's definitely, you know, losing the hype or the edge it had before, you know. But still, though, again, it could have been a lot worse. I saw, and even I expected this movie to crash and burn after that first weekend, and the fact that it's been holding steady has been pretty impressive given the seemingly negative response we saw for it. So I do have to retract my Housemaid comparisons that I made last week. You know, this is not going to be the Housemaid, at least domestically speaking. Internationally, however, this thing is a juggernaut. It's about to crack 200 million worldwide. That is actually really impressive. We are seeing quite the divide between domestic and international audiences with this movie. So yeah, I mean, just from that alone, you can't really call this a flop, let alone a bomb. But on the domestic side of things, it's doing fine, about all right. It's still got some time before Reminders of Him, so it'll probably remain steady as it is. But yeah, still far away from where many people were hoping it would score. Number 2 was GOAT, making $12 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $73 million and its worldwide total to $130 million. GOAT is still holding really well. It has only dropped 29% from last weekend. Again, just the word of mouth and response to this movie has been really impressive and strong to see. It's on its way to 80 million domestically. We'll see if it can get to 100 million. There is certainly a big bump in the road, which we'll get to later. But hey, I think, given how strong the reception is, it wouldn't surprise me if it continues to hold really well. Again, there's not much family movies out right now, and I still think there's enough interest and buzz surrounding the movie to get it to where it needs to. I certainly think it might even rival Space Jam as the biggest basketball movie ever, although, again, it's gonna depend on how it does against the competition this weekend. And on the worldwide side of things are definitely picking up slowly but surely. Again, it's still got a couple of countries to come out to, so hopefully those boost up the numbers, but it is at 130 million worldwide. It should get to 150 million by the end of the week, and again, once it hits those other international countries, hopefully it gets to that doubling point of around 80 to 90 million dollars. So yeah, the movie's still holding well, still going strong, but again, like I said, there's a big bump in the road this weekend. It's going to be the ultimate test for this movie going up against the competition. It's a pretty big one, if I do say so myself. So it'll be interesting to see if that puts a dent in this movie's box office run or if they can coexist. I'm leaning more towards, hopefully they can coexist. I still think that movie's going to damage this a bit, but I don't think it's going to be as brutal as other people are expecting because, again, the movie's word of mouth and response has just been so strong. But yeah, again, definitely going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on given this movie's performance. But yeah, still, movie's still doing strong, still doing really well. Certainly a win for original animation and another solid hit for Sony Pictures Animation. Yeah, doing pretty well right now. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was Scream 7, opening with $63 million this weekend domestically and $96 million worldwide. This has topped everything we could compare it to, so let's just jump right into it. It's the biggest opening in the Scream franchise, topping Scream 6, Scream 3, Scream 2, and Scream 5. It's the biggest opening for a horror movie this year, topping Send Help, Iron Lung, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and Primate, and it's the biggest opening of the year overall, topping Wuthering Heights, GOAT, Send Help, and Iron Lung. I knew it was gonna top this weekend, but not to this degree, I thought, the marketing being so lackluster and minimal, and certainly the reviews, I thought those were going to hurt this movie's chances, but no, it's clear that Scream has really become like such a pivotal horror franchise that the fans will rush out and go and see it. Again, Ghostface is still iconic and people love to solve the mystery of who the killer is with whoever is in it, these new suspects or supporting cast or whoever. And with how horror franchises, especially last year, soared to new heights we never saw from them before. Again, The Conjuring, Final Destination, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, this was no different. It followed in that path. Again, the buzz and hype for this was so strong amongst people wanting to see a new horror movie, and especially the Scream fans, and because of that, it's already doubled its budget worldwide. The budget for this was $45 million, and it's definitely going to crack $100 million in a matter of, I don't know, maybe hours or so. Yeah, just a really strong, spectacular opening. However, there is one thing that worries me about the movie's box office going forward, and that is the reception for the movie. Like I said already, critics were not kind to this movie. It's currently sitting at a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics did not like this, and audiences do not seem to be too thrilled about this movie either. It got a B- on CinemaScore, which for a horror movie isn't like the worst thing in the world. Primate got the same score, but for the Scream franchise, it is timed with Scream 4 as the lowest rating in the franchise. So many people were not satisfied with this. I have definitely heard some very negative things about the ending, so I don't think this movie is going to have as strong legs as some people are hoping it would. If anything, I probably think we're probably gonna see something similar to Five Nights at Freddy's 2, where it had a really strong opening and makes a lot of money, but its legs are just really bad due to just really poor word of mouth surrounding this. But still, though, the fact that this movie really like won the weekend to this degree is still really impressive to see, and it does show that Scream isn't going anywhere. I mean, we've already getting reports about how they're already working on the next film. Again, 8 movies in this franchise, my god. But yeah, it's clear they're satisfied with how well this movie's done already, and it's not gonna stop anytime soon. So yeah, spectacular opening for Scream 7. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results, but we're not quite done yet, as we got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we have 2 new wide releases, starting with The Bride. This is Maggie Gyllenhaal's take on the classic horror monster. Instead of doing a typical horror movie or a romance film, it looks to be a crime thriller drama period piece set in the late 30s, early 40s, revolving around, you guessed it, the Bride of Frankenstein. Now, there are ways where I think this movie could somewhat impress. I think, The Bride of Frankenstein is such an iconic, beloved horror movie, and these two are such iconic, beloved characters. Seeing this version, this unique take, might generate some interest in that. And Frankenstein is on everybody's mind. Guillermo del Toro's version was just a couple months ago, and the Oscars are around the corner, so lots of people will be thinking about that, and it definitely stands apart from everything else out right now. It's certainly very unique, but those are where the positives end. I'm not thinking this movie's gonna really do all that well. Unfortunately, I think this is gonna end Warner Brothers' winning streak. It was a good run, but it was bound to end eventually. I just don't think this movie has it. The marketing hasn't been too great. I've seen some promos and stuff here and there, but nothing to like the degree of like what I saw with like Wuthering Heights, and the buzz just doesn't seem to be there. A lot of people don't really seem to be on board with this movie. It looks unique and definitely a league of its own, but I think it just doesn't have that wide appeal. It's too much of its own thing. If anything, I think this would have performed much better in the fall, late September, early October, around that Halloween time. I think more people would be on board with this, but as is, I'm not expecting much for this. And then there's Hoppers, the newest film from Pixar about a girl who transports her subconscious being into a robotic beaver to infiltrate the nature and animals of her ecosystem. Yeah, so original animation has been up and down as of late. They can either score as high as GOAT or fall as low as Elio, and the same can be said for Pixar. Again, they can fall as low as Elio or as high as Inside Out 2, and I'm leaning more towards success this time around. I think it's got a shot. It's obviously not going to be Inside Out 2 levels, but I think this is going to do much, much better than Elio. The marketing has just been much stronger for this movie. They've been doing a great job promoting and marketing tons of stuff all over this place, and the buzz also seems to be really high and strong with this movie. I know a lot of people who are interested or excited, not just the Disney animation fans, but just general people who are curious about this movie. I know a lot of people really like that lizard, and it's the only animated movie out right now, and I think there's a lot of attention and hype surrounding this. I really think this is gonna bounce Pixar back after Elio for sure. The things that could hurt it, again, I think original animation might be a tougher sell for a lot of people, especially families, so we'll see if it can overcome that or do what GOAT did and massively overperform. And also the budget, Pixar movies, they ain't cheap. Even Elio, which was one of the cheaper ones, was said to still be at least $150 million. So even if this movie does overperform, it's gonna face some hurdles in regards to like how expensive it is. But regardless, I still think this movie's got a shot. I think it's gonna really deliver this weekend. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all those social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.